Hello and welcome to the second part of our Lazy Guy's Guide Post Scriptum miniseries. So, in this episode, we are going to tackle the Archdragon Peak. I think this episode will end just before the Nameless King fight, but we have quite a long way to go until there. So, first and foremost, warp to the Ancient dungeon bonfire and try to follow in my footsteps exactly because this area can get confusing and we need to get ourselves to a shortcut that we unlocked in the main series, I think. But given that this area is quite hard to navigate, try to pay attention. And we now have found our way to the shortcut. As you saw here, even I got a little lost, and yeah, that's why you should try to keep your headings. Earthhill dungeon is not a large area, but it's quite confusing. So good luck. Now that we are at this position, it is time for us to equip and use the Path of the Dragon gesture. And we are now at Archdragon Peak. You will notice that there is no bonfire as soon as you teleport here. But if you manage to die here, you will be teleported to the entrance of this area, so you won't have to deal with Easyenzzo dungeon again. However, these are the enemies that you will deal with here, and while they don't look too menacing, they are quite hard to do. Even more, this is going to be the first time when I'm going to recommend you to actually take the time and kill the enemies, because I have learned the hard way that these enemies chase you quite fast, and you might very well get yourself into the position that you are next to the bonfire, but they are so close that you can't light it, and you'll end up having to kill at least some of them anyway. Take a little bit of care when you're dealing with these enemies, because some of them can parry you. So I don't know if the one with the small shields can parry you, but the ones that wield 2 daggers, they can 100% parry you, and they hurt. So take caution, try and kill them all, and then light the bonfire. We have now reached the bonfire and we are ready to go and face the first boss of this area. So the boss is going to be a wyvern boss. It's a giant boss. However, it is also a gimmick boss. So you could try and tickle the boss at its claws. You can try and do that. However, that's not the way this boss is meant to be killed. I'm going to show you how to run through this area as safe as you can and kill the boss the way that the developers wanted you to deal with it. There are two important things to understand about this whole boss fight. The first one is that the area is filled with basic enemies and with a lot of goodies. So after you have dealt with the boss, feel free to come back here and loot everything. I have to admit that I don't know what the goodies are lying around here, but it has to be something good. I mean, they are lying in a boss area, so they have to be good, right? The second thing is that you don't have to linger. Don't linger in this area because the boss is going to torch areas of the map. So if you stay too much in one spot, you have a very good chance of getting yourself torched by the boss. So don't deal with any of the enemies now. Don't go for any of the goodies now, because after the boss is dealt with, that will get a lot easier. In order to one-shot the boss, drop down to this small platform. Make sure that the boss's head is directly below you and perform a plunge attack. So I'm saying that you should be careful that the boss's head is right below you, because I have actually managed to, believe it or not, miss the boss. So I took all that stroll through the enemies, through the fire, through the ladders, and end up whiffing on the plunge, so take a little bit of care. But anyway, now with the boss down, we are teleported to the next area, which is a bit tougher than this one. However, we're in luck because I'm lazy guy, I know what I'm doing most of the part, and I'm going to show you how to easily navigate this next area. This first enemy that we're going to tackle is a summoner. If you let this thing live, it will keep spawning basically NPCs that will attack you. If you want to deal with the NPCs, I'm pretty sure they can be farmed for their gear. However, we don't need any of that gear, so I would deeply recommend just going for the summoner. This next area is filled with traps. All of these basic enemies, well, the big danger of this area are not the enemies, but as you can see, it's quite easy to fall off the map. So be careful. Again, don't linger, because if you don't run straight past, they will gather up around you, and that's a very easy way to die. Oh, look how cute! that lizard thing is actually quite annoying because it can push you very easily off the ledge, and even though it doesn't deal a lot of damage by itself, it can stun you long enough that they gank up on you and you can't really escape from that point on. So this is another Ancient Wyvern, just like the boss we just fought, but this time there is no gimmick. If you want to kill it, you have to find a way to do so. Staying between the legs doesn't necessarily work because it will reposition, it will bleed fire beneath his legs, so it can get quite rough. However, you can kill them. Kill it 100%. But for the purpose of our guide, let's try to just run past them and trigger the next bonfire. Nope. Now that we are on the threshold of Nameless King, all we have to do before doing the boss is actually some prep work. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to get ourselves a new Titanite Slab. On top of that ladder that we just saw lies Havel. If you have played Dark Souls 1, you will know who Havel is. Havel is staying on top of our Titanite Slab, so you don't have to kill Havel in order to get the slab. However, he drops probably the best weapons that you can ask for as a strength build. He will drop both of his weapons. He will drop the Dragon Tooth, this giant stick that he's hitting us with, and he will also drop his shield, which is the shield with the overall greatest resistances in the game, albeit for the cost of extreme weight. However, deal with him, get yourself the slab, get your gear from him if you want to, and then we'll move on. Before we make a move on Nameless King, we need to gather two things. First, we need a new set of ashes to give to the nice old lady in the shrine, such that we can buy infinite amounts of lightning buffs, and this is what we're doing right now. And then we'll go pick up a lightning crest shield. So right now we are wielding the fire crest shield, which is the best medium shield against fire, maybe, except for the Black Knight, but I don't feel like farming at this point. And we'll go take his brother, Lightning Crest Shield. But anyway, in order to get to those ashes, we first need to go to the same elevator that took us to Archdragon Peak, and then deal with some of the jailers. So we again go through this shortcut, take the elevator down, and then we'll head into the room full of jailers. We didn't tackle the full room of jailers in the main series, and we won't really tackle it now. However, we need the item from there, so we'll go in. We will carefully navigate along the left side of the room without drawing attention. We will deal with the room of golems, and we'll get ourselves our item. After we dispose of all the enemies and realize that this is not the cell we are looking for, we move back out into the room full of jailers and into the next cell. That chest right there is a mimic. You can tell by the fact that its chain is arched in such a way that it's different from the ordinary chests. However, we are not interested in what's inside, but our interest is in this cell room. One of the items is going to be the Xanthos Ashes, which is our objective, and the other one is the Dusk Crown Ring. And the thing is that as soon as you pick up the Dusk Crown Ring, all the jailers are going to rush inside. So if you do plan on picking up that one item, be ready to haul ass. Now for the lightning shield. Go to the dragon barracks. Bonfire, head up the bridge that was before guarded by the dragons, but wyverns, I guess, technically. Turn left here, and we will now go down a set of stairs that we ignored in the main playthrough. So, deal with this guy right here, so he doesn't take your Estus away, or doesn't interfere with the next fight. And we will go down here in the basement. Down in the basement awaits a Frost Knight, so buckle up, it's going to be a tough fight. Right here I buff myself with fire, just for some extra damage, and let's go. With the Frost Knight dead, we are free to loot up the room. Here I check for mimics, because I can't really see the entirety of the chain, so I don't know if it's a mimic or not. But anyway, loot up, get yourself the shield that we need, and we will be ready to move on. With us picking up the Spirit Tree Crest Shield, the episode is complete. In the next one, we're going to tackle the Nameless King, and I hope it's going to be fun. At least for you, if not for me. So, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next part. See ya.